Hello, my name is Stacy and welcome to today's video where we'll be talking about introduction to Python for absolute beginners. So going forward, I'm going to be focusing more on the application of Python in data analysis. But anyway, let's get into the video. Today we're going to be talking about printing in Python, variables, operators, and inputs. But before we start, I want to show you guys how to launch Google Colab. So yeah, start by opening a new tab on Chrome. I already have Google Colab here, so just Google Colab. So once you Google it, you'll get it right here, and you have the option to open a new notebook. So just give it a minute to load, and there you go. It should be launching in a few. You have your notebook. So why do I prefer Google Colab? I really don't know about you guys, but when I was starting to learn about data science and data analytics, there was a lot between the stats, visualization tools, coding, etc. It was too much. So it was really nice to get like a tool, being Google Colab, that allowed me to just start coding. And later on, when I developed the bandwidth to read about other IDEs out there, how to install them, how to use them, that's when I started focusing more on, things like Anaconda. So yeah, for now, this is Google Colab. I'll be using it in this tutorial, and many more to come probably. But yes, now you know how to launch it and you know why I prefer it. Like, I think it's really good for someone who's totally new to coding, and specifically coding for data analytics, data science. I really don't know how feasible Google Colab is for other applications of Python. I can't speak for that. But anyway, let's start. So printing is a keyword in Python, and just from the word printing, it allows you to print, it allows you to output something. So let's start by writing print. So print into brackets. What do I want to print? My name. Control enter. So when you want to run a cell, okay, so I think I need to restart my runtime, and then we have to try this again. So there you go. So print Stacy. So we have Stacy, we want to output it, so we print it. So anytime you're printing anything that's a data type string, you need to put it in quotes. So like, for example, if you did print Stacy without putting it in quotations, you'd get an error. The name Stacy is not defined, yeah? So always anything that's a string, or should I say character. Later on, we'll talk about the various data types that are in Python. But yes, anything that's a string needs to be put in quotations. So let's see. What happens when you try to print an integer? Do the same rules apply? No, an integer can be printed as it is. So yeah, I think that's it for printing in Python. Maybe the other thing I can also add is, let's do print 5 plus 6. We get 11. Let's also do print into quotes 5 plus 6. You literally get 5 plus 6. So here, because I put it in quotation, it recognizes 5 plus 6 as a string and not two integers being added on to each other. Hence the output. Then another thing you need to know about Python is it follows the order in which you've written. So like it will start by printing 5, then print 5 plus 6, then print 5 plus 6 as a string. And yeah, that's it for printing in Python. If you have any questions, please feel free to put them down in the comments. I'll be sure to check them out and answer all your questions. So the next thing we're going to be looking at is variables. So what are variables? Variables are basically containers. The way you have your suitcase, you could store your clothes in them. Variables allow you to store something. You could be storing a string in your variable, you could be storing a list in your variable, you could be storing an integer, among other things. So let's start with a variable called school. And we are going to name this school Timo. So when you run, what happens? Nothing. And this is because you've just stored the variable Timo in school. But for you to actually access what's in the variable, you need to print it out. So print school. Let's see what happens. Timo is printed out. So I just remembered I didn't show you guys. So these are the small things that once frustrated me. But yeah, so if you have a variable called name, and the name is Stacy. So this is a cell. While we've typed our code, this is a cell. And when you want to run this cell, you either click here or you do Control Enter. So I find it faster to do Control Enter, but going forward, just know every time you see this thing running, I have clicked on Control Enter. So let's do print. Sorry about that. Print name. Control Enter. We have our name. So a few rules about creating a variable. Number one, a variable can't start with a number. So if you were to put this here and we try and run this, you'll get a syntax error. So variable can't start with numbers. Then another thing about variables is you can't use a Python keyword. So like this is a Python keyword. We want to put the variable boy. So we're storing boy in the variable. This is going to give you an error, again, a syntax error, because you cannot use a Python keyword to create a variable. The next thing also is, let's say this was student name. And the student is called, who should we call the student? Let's call the student Elon. If you try and run this, it's going to give you a syntax error again because your variables should not have a space. So you either connect it or you use an underscore. So those are just some of the rules out there about how to create a variable. Feel free to Google, read more about this so you can avoid errors that are a result of not following the rules of naming a variable. So yes, the next thing we are going to go into is operators, or should I say Python as a calculator. So this is something I always tell my baby brother, like Python is just like a high-class calculator. It's like a high-class calculator. Let me stop there. I don't want to go into conversations that I have with my small brother. So yes, let's start with a variable. We call it x. X will be 5. And y will be equals to 10. So if we do print into brackets x plus y, what will happen? You get 15. But what if we made this one's a string and you do x plus y, you get 5 first, then 10. So something you could have done here, if you want to literally put a space, assuming this was our word, you would have to do quote, double quotes, put space. Actually, I can't remember how to do that. I think I have to put plus. Yes. There you go. So to just give a better a more clear example of how to do that is, let's say we have a variable name, and the name is Stacy, and oh, we didn't put it in quotes, and then age we put 26, then we want to print print into brackets. So I actually started using this recently, but you know what, it's okay. So let's just put my name is, so literally put the space, then add name, add space, and I am space again, add age. Let's see what that will look like. Ooh, yes. So concatenation. If you're someone who's used, okay, the other option is actually this is actually not the right place to do it. If you're someone who's used SQL or you've used Excel, concatenation is something that is not new to you, and you can't concatenate, bring together two objects that are of a different data type. So since my name is name, these are all strings, so you have to change age into a string too. And there you go. My name is Stacy and I am 26. So yeah, so I've just remembered there's something else I should have told you guys about variables that I didn't mention here before. So let's imagine a variable called boy. Yeah. And we do print boy. Name boy is not defined. So you can't call something that doesn't exist. You have to create it first. And then you remember what I told you guys about the order of Python. Like it will, like if I was to do print boy, yeah, and then I come and create a boy, like the variable named boy after, it doesn't make sense. You always have to create it before. And by creating, I mean running that cell before. The placement doesn't really matter, but of course, logically, it matters for the sake of you or someone else being able to understand the flow of your work. Where it's placed matters. But when I say create, I actually mean run the cell, as long as you run the variable where you've stored the variable before you call it. So we can say boy is equals to hello. So even if you've created, we've not run it, and then we come and do this, we'll still get an error. So you have to come and run boy first. Then after you run boy, now you come and try and print it out and you'll get hello. So yeah, so that's just something I forgot to tell you guys, and it will, yeah, I don't know why this code made me remember that. But yes, and here it is. My name is Stacy and I am 26. So there's a lot you can do with Python. Like you could add as we did before, you can do subtractions, you can do division, multiplication, you can do what is it called, power of, like 5 power 2, 5 times 5, 25. And yeah, so I'm going to put a link to a resource. So that is W3 schools, or you can even just go to it directly, like just Google W3 schools and Google Python operators. And yeah, jump onto your Colab and practice how to use the various operators in, yeah, interesting ways that you can come up with. And yes, the last thing we are going to be looking into is, okay, why is this thing appearing here? The last thing we're going to be looking into is inputs. And I am going to start by what we do. So let's say name, and then name is equals to, I've used name so much. What can we use? Car. is equals to input, but name would have been a better example. How long, oh, how long have you had your car? Oh, okay, but this is not exactly what, okay, no, but it will work. So let's run this, and you can write there 10 years. How long have you had your car for? 10 years. Okay, so let's do something a bit more interesting. Okay, so let's say we want to ask this user for their name. So we're going to name it name again. Name is stuck in my head. So input, what is your name? Then after we ask them what your name is, we can also say age input. So a more creative way to do this example, basically, like imagine you're asking, like you have a website and you ask someone inputs their name, someone inputs their age, and you're like, oh, hi, Stacy, welcome to our website. Like, how would you do that in a more interactive way? Where's my, okay, here. How old are you? And then we can be like, print hello space name. What can we do? Hello, Stacy. Okay, this is a very basic example that probably doesn't make sense. You are, remember to change the data type of you are, whatever age the person says. Yeah, I think we're going to leave it at that. Yeah. So when I press enter, I am 26. Hello, somewhere you are 26. So remember we didn't put space here. Let's run again, hence why it looks like that. So hello, name, somewhere. How old am I? I'm 26. Hello, somewhere you are 26. So another example. So let me just copy paste something that I have here. But let me just copy paste something that I have here. Control copy. And then we have this. Okay. So I want to use 40. I want to use 10. We'll still use 40 and 10. Who can guess what will be the difference between the output here and the output here? Right here. Let's find out. So 40, 10, 50. 40, 10, 4,010. So yeah, so this, I just wanted to highlight again the importance of specifying the data type of your variable. So you see here, it recognizes it as a string, so it literally added it to get 50. No, sorry, as an integer. So when you put int, it changed X and Y into integers, and it literally added them. But here it was recognizing 10 and 40 as a string, so it literally just concatenated 10 and 40. And yeah, so that's it for this video. Thank you so much for staying to the end. I really hope you learned something. If you have any questions, feel free to put them down in the comment. I actually really enjoyed this more than I thought I would. And yeah, this is really good practice for me. Like I work as a data analyst, and I majorly work on SQL, and then because I learned data analysis using Python, sometimes I would find myself reverting back to Python and then figuring out how to change whatever I know how to do in Python to SQL, because that's the major thing we use at work. So Python a bit, SQL a lot, of course, and then Excel sometimes, because I could have something, but I want to further analyze it on Excel. So yeah, so those are my three main tools, but my major tool is SQL. And now I'm enrolled in a master's program in data science and analytics. I plan to focus more on the data science side of things. And because of that, I'm starting to use Python again a lot more. And yeah, this is nice. Like, instead of just practicing on my own, which to some extent I am practicing on my own, I'm practicing and also just teaching others. I actually enjoyed this, and I'm looking forward to do more and more of these videos every other weekend. So if I don't post a video, I'm not studying for my masters. But yeah, this is so much fun. And I guess, yeah, shout out to my prof, and shout out to, like, of course it's not just my prof. Like, by the time I started this master's program, I had a very good-ish understanding of Python, and he explains Python in such a beautiful and easy way. Oh my god, I love his classes. Like, things that I just used to know how to do, but I never used to understand the inner working. He's made it so much clearer. So shout out to you, prof. I don't know if I'm allowed to say your name out here. I don't know. But yeah, so yeah, let me not talk too much. Thank you so much. I legit enjoyed this. And yeah, see you in the next video. Bye.